He was holding this map when we brought him in.
Whoa. This looks like...
A way out of Haran. Crane, we are running out of antizin. We have to explore every possibility. We can't wait any longer.
Oh, hi, didn't see you there. I'm Grant, this is Corbin, and welcome to Megabusters. Today
Hello.
Talking about Dying Light. The Enhanced Edition or the following?
Yeah. Dying Light Enhanced Edition, the following.
Colons between all of those.
Yeah. It's, good name. This is the, I guess, spiritual successor to the Dead Island franchise. I have a feeling that at some point this was being called Dead Island 2, and they decided to change the name so that there wouldn't be a barrier to entry.
I actually did not know about that. If I had known, I would have bought it day one because I really like Dead Island. But the only thing I heard about this game was maybe it was on early access or something, or maybe I was confusing that with one of the other 10 million zombie free roam games like that.
Survival games, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, developer Techland, and they tried to get the guys from was it Raven something rather, the people that made Spec Ops: The Line. They were in charge of making Dead Island 2, and there was a trailer in E3 4 or 5 years ago now, and I guess that game got canceled, so I bet Techland is now making Dead Island 2, even though it's going to be the third or fourth game technically.
I'm excited. I hope they do. I want more of these games.
Yeah. This is a very interesting game. It was an interesting experience. It's an open world survival action RPG that has co-op. You complete drop in, drop out co-op, beginning to almost the end.
And focus on melee combat rather than guns, and there's a little bit of crafting. It's not full survival, build your own house thing like a lot of other games are. But this one is more of a focus on swinging pipes around and stuff, melee face-to-face with zombies rather than just shooting them.
Right. It's just like the Dead Island games. It's more about, you find the pipe that whacks the zombie, but then you attach a torch to the pipe, but you don't make that pipe. You don't make a stick. You make the stuff that goes on it.
You don't punch trees to get wood to craft sticks.
Right. There are levels, and once you get to the Steam survival level, it's just boring, in my opinion. But yeah, this one actually has a focused narrative and a focused pace. That being said, you can do side quests galore, and me and Grant played through this game on nightmare difficulty, beginning to end, and tried to do every single side quest that we could find. I think we did most, if not all of them, and we, for the most part, skipped the whole entire element of the races and stuff like that. They were just
the challenges,
random add-ons. Yeah, that's just grinding.
To give some exposition, because this is important, there's a virus, the zombie virus, in a place called Haran, which is based off of real-life Turkey. So they've contained the zombie virus. They've built walls, they've blown up bridges. It's only in Haran, which is where all this is happening.
And they never say it's Turkey, but Haran is in Turkey, but there is an ocean in this game. So... question mark.
I suppose they have blockades in the sea somewhere. That's never discussed. But so there's two factions here. The GRE, which is the global relief effort or something like that. They're the humanitarians. They're dropping food supplies and they're flying airplanes over that drop out medicine and stuff. They're the humanitarians. And the other faction is the Ministry of Defense, which put up the walls and wants to just firebomb the whole place and wipe it out completely. So that sets it up. You are a freelance agent, or
Troy Baker.
Yeah, your name is Keith Crane, Kyle Crane.
Yeah, Kyle Crane, played by Troy Baker, where he sounds like Troy Baker.
You drop out of an airplane, the in the opening, and you're briefed on your mission. You are the sole guy there, the sole like operative, finding the cure, or at least like lots of a cache of documents for an agent who went rogue and is now like running a military faction inside Haran and is like blackmailing the GRE something. So you're there, get the cure, get the files from the rogue agent, and save the world, cure the virus. That's what you're told as you're dropping in.
And right away you find yourself in danger and immediately recruited by the good guys within about 30 seconds of landing.
Yeah. Oh, it's important to note that you meet a girl named Jade Alamar or something like that. Her brother, Amir, dies. They both come to save you. He sacrifices himself so that you guys can get away. So right there, Jade is mad at you for basically killing her brother. But she reluctantly brings you back to meet the good guys at the tower. They wear yellow shirts. They're called runners. They do parkour, and that's how they survive.
There's like what, 5 of these guys until you come into the world. Then you're the only runner.
Yeah.
In the world, you never experience anyone like you except in the intro sequence.
It's hinted that there are like other people, survivors that you like save. You see them like trapped in houses fighting zombies or something. They're supposed to be runners, but like you do everything from day one. Like
there's never another like NPC human that's like running around doing stuff. They're all like stationary in the world, doing like one thing.
So just you. They bring you in. You go train with them for a while so they can see like what you're capable of. You blow them away because you're a highly trained agent that they don't know. They think you're just a random person. So you kind of have a cover going on that you need to maintain, that you're actually working with the GRE to do this like agenda that you have, which is
GRE is Global Relief Effort,
yeah,
right?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, apparently that's an evil organization.
Yeah, you find that out. They call you up, or after every mission, you have to call them up and like get tabs on like how you're doing and like what the next steps are. So
right.
There's a drug called antizin, which is supposed to suppress the zombie virus from. It won't keep you from. You have to continually take it, and then even if you're bitten, you just won't turn into a zombie. So that's what everyone needs, and that's what the GRE is providing to people. So they send you on a mission to like make contact with a rogue agent. And so to do that, you need leverage. So you find some antizin, you burn it at the GRE's behest. You keep one vial in your back pocket for later. It never comes up again. So now your faction is forced to talk to the evil faction, which has guns. They're yellow too, but they're yellow with guns, and you guys are yellow with parkour.
Yeah, and they look like Mad Max characters, and the good guys don't.
Right, they have faces.
Right.
So because you burned this antizin, now your leader's forced to make a deal with the other leader. That gets you in contact with him. You do some missions to him. You eventually get the cure, or no, I'm getting ahead of myself. What happens after that? You like do some stuff. Yeah,
basically you become the errand boy. You go out and you have complete range over this world, and you get it's 3, is it 2 or is it 3 open worlds that you get in this game? Like you get 3 islands, the equivalent of an island in Grand Theft Auto. You start off in one that is the biggest one that you get in the whole game. And then you go into a smaller one, and then an even smaller one as the game progresses. But yeah, you become an errand boy, like looking for this cure, and you meet this doctor, right? And he wants you to kill this specific zombie so that you can synthesize a vaccine of sorts, right?
Yeah, that's like not even what you're there to do. That's just like a bonus that you're just helping out because you're like, you believe in the GRE's cause. You're like the altruistic humanitarian dream boy that everyone loves.
And then at the same time, you have this villain that's building up Rice, who is just I don't really understand why people are following him. He seems to like kill his own teammates like every time he's in a scene. So I don't really understand why he has a large following. I guess everyone likes the fact that he doesn't ever wear a shirt properly. But he's being built up, and he tries to kill you, and he like loses his hand in a big battle sequence. And the game progresses, and from there, I think that's where we get into like Island 2 or Island 3, right?
You meet someone called Troy, who was the leader of the faction at Old Town, which is, I found from like, it's probably mentioned in the game, but they're called the Ember faction. That's what they rise from the embers or something like that.
Did they ever use that name?
I probably in the lore text that I never read, but
okay,
I wouldn't know.
yeah,
I had to look it up.
Well, you pick up lots and lots of notes in this game, and they just go into a backlog in case you are tired of playing a video game and want to just read walls of text for a long time, which I think is a real flaw. I mean, it'd be one thing if you picked it up, it just showed the wall of text and you could choose to read it or not, but the fact that you pick it up and it just goes right into your inventory, which is already cluttered as it is, and then you have to make the deliberate decision to open up a letter and then read a bunch of letters to get the full context of what's happening. I think it was a big problem in the game, and I think it would have changed that design decision.
Yeah. Maybe a mod fixes it, but we didn't have any mods.
Yes.
So Troy sends you on a bunch of missions. Jade, the girl who rescued you earlier, has gone to Old Town to bring some data to another doctor who's like making more of the cure or like furthering the research. So you go after her. She blames you for Amir and for another thing. I don't know if we want to spoil. It's a year-old like game, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Jade is angry at you.
Spoilers.
You have to win her back. So you're doing that. Oh, the most ridiculous mission. Like it has progressed, like tensions at an all-time high. The Ministry of Defense wants to firebomb the place. So you have to send a message out. They've cut off all communication, like they're lying to the media. They say that no survivor, no intelligent humans are left in Haran. So you have to send a message out without like radio communication. So your plan is to set a fire on a building in a pattern that like makes it known that intelligent people live there. So you go into this high-rise building, which can supposedly be seen around the world, which is what their plan is. So like any random person can just look up and see it. But you go there, you put like shotgun canisters attached to walkie-talkies on top of stoves.
You tape shotgun shells to walkie-talkies in this hotel. And that's supposed to be an explosive device. Oh, and you turn on gasoline, so now we know it's very explosive.
Yeah. You leave the stove on.
Tape a shotgun shell to a walkie-talkie if you want to make a bomb.
Yeah, pro tip, bomb making tips. So you do that. It makes a frowny face. Like the windows, like there are two windows that are on fire, which are eyes, and then like there's an upside down frown, which is the mouth. It's like spread out across like 10 windows.
Even though didn't we only light 3 bombs?
Yeah, I think like we did half of the work, like the last quarter or something, because the other guy got like stuck or something. He couldn't do it.
Oh,
so we did that for them. Makes a frowny face in the shape of a flame. Immediately, a jet flies by and blows up the building, so no one can see it. So that was their last-ditch effort. There's another thing about, like, they have plans on top of plans of just how to survive the next step. So eventually you do that. You stop them from firebombing the city at the last mission. You fight the big bad guy in a quick time event. And
yes, a quick time final boss battle.
A series of quick time events.
Oh, and the game, I guess it's because of the quick time, but like the original game and the DLC both don't let you play co-op during the final segment. the original game has like a whole running like chase sequence, followed by a quick time boss battle, and then the DLC has like a driving like chase sequence. How does this game end? Spoilers.
So like you have the research, the cure essentially, the GRE trying to weaponize the virus, and you have all the information about the virus, the complete picture in your hands in like a hard disk. You are at odds with the GRE because you don't trust them, because you think they're trying to just clear their name. You don't think they have good intentions to do with this information, what would be the best for the world. So they like offer you a ride out, but you're like, no, I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna decide what to do with this. I'm gonna hang out here in Zombieland with the information and just wait until something better comes up. And you stay there, just being your altruistic self.
Yeah, it's kind of a very anticlimactic ending. It's just like there's a helicopter circling and you just say, no, I'm staying. And that's it. That's the end of this whole thing. It's a pretty big game too. I mean, it's kind of a disappointing ending, but not as disappointing as the ending of the following.
Listen, I'm from Haran, and I've come because I've heard that there are people here who are immune to the virus.
Oh, and who told you this?
A dead man, I'm sorry to say.
You might as well keep listening to.
We've shown you a path and a sign, Mr. Crane. The rest is up to you and your faith.
So you're staying in this after all the events have happened. You see that there's a way out of Haran to the countryside, to the sea, and you go there. You discover that people there are kind of immune to the virus. Maybe they have a cure, so that's what prompts you to go out and check it out and try to see if there's either an escape or a cure. So you go there, everything's ruled by this weird religion called like the Children of the Sun. They have this matriarch figure of a masked woman with like a sun mask on. So that's who they all worship, and that's who they say grants them their immunity.
And the following acts is like a direct sequel to the original game, where you finish it and then it leads like straight into the following. That being said, you have to go to the main menu to switch between the two. They're not in the same game world.
Yeah, and you can't backtrack either. You're stuck.
Yeah, and basically at the beginning of the following, you're waiting for a cure to be synthesized again, I guess, and then you find out that there's this tribe that has a potential cure that you've heard about from a dying. What is he? They don't even do they show where this guy comes from?
I see. He supposedly came back from the countryside. Like he's the one who went there and back to bring that news.
Okay.
He didn't have a radio. You're the only one with the radio.
You're just sent into this new land that's not the city anymore that you've been in the whole game. Now you're like in the countryside, and we are introduced to vehicles.
Yeah, you get to drive around a buggy. You get to upgrade it. You can put flamethrowers on it. You can beef it up.
What did you think
armor.
of the cars in the following?
I liked them. They were a good change of pace rather than just a grappling hook around. You get a grappling hook, so like halfway through the game, parkour becomes irrelevant. You can just Spider-Man
turn
around.
into Spider-Man, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the cars were. I appreciated them being in the game. That being said, I did not appreciate the level design that they went with. I mean, you hit a tree that's as high as your knee, and it will stop you into a dead stop where zombies will just bombard you. I thought the level design was annoying, and you learn quickly that you cannot leave the road. You're in like a dune buggy that's made to go off-road, but if you go off-road, you are just going to crash and crash and crash and crash. And when everything on your car is getting damaged and it has to be repaired and has to be upgraded, it felt a lot like it was just like babysitting your car a lot of the time when you're already having to manage so many things in your inventory. But yeah, I appreciate that they put in cars into the game. It was something that was lacking in the original.
Right. It's a big open area too, suited for driving cars in the way, unless you go off road. There's a big cliff that like subdivides the entire map, so you can't just go from one into another. You have to like open up your big map, look at the roads, see which is the optimal route, and go there. Because there's no like GTA turn-by-turn navigation. Just, oh, am I going the right way? Nope, complete opposite way, and there's a cliff there.
If you see your objective is on the other side of the map and you haven't cleared that map yet, it's still blacked out. I mean, you can go the completely wrong direction for so long and just not know it because there's just a gigantic mountain in the middle of the map. So it's just a series of like, okay, is the road going to start heading in that direction soon, or is it not? I might just hit a dead end, and you very well may, which happened to me a few times, specifically at night, which is just extremely frustrating.
So you're doing favors for the children of the sun to gain a reputation so that you can have an audience with the mother and her apostles, alakites, priests, whatever they are. So you're doing just random missions. Just help me clear these bandits out, clear these zombies out, fetch quests, things like that. Some of them are fun. Some of them are just like, bring me lots of stuff, find this missing person.
Yeah, you're once again reduced to the errand boy. And this, the DLC introduces a whole reputation system where you get points and ranks depending on how many side missions you do, which is something that wasn't in the original game.
We reached almost the like top rank before we did like 1 or 2 story missions. We were just did straight side missions, and we were max reputation.
Yeah, by the end of the game, the story couldn't even keep up with us. We would talk to one mission giver and have to drive away from the person and then just drive right back to the exact same person because the story presumed that we were going to have more side quests to grind out because it gives you the objective to just, what does it say? Continue aiding the sun people or the faceless people, and we had finished all of them. We had done everything. So
they underestimated us. You're kind of a legend throughout the whole game. Like from the first 2 suicide missions that you volunteer for from the vanilla game, like you're a legend. You're the Kyle Crane. You like fix everything. You're the problem solver for everyone, and everyone knows your name. And no one's heard of you in the countryside, but they begin to. They see that you're the guy, because some of Rice's the evil factions, bandits, carry over to them, and they know who you are, and they're like scared of you because you decimated their entire faction. So you're the Kyle Crane solving problems, and you get an audience with at first the faceless and then the mother. That's what they're called, in that order. They have this gas, this mist that they wave around in a censer and like wave incense on you, and the zombies don't attack you. It's kind of like they had the same thing in the base game. It's a cloak potion. You drink it and you're fine. But I don't think that's actually canon, because this is the real stuff that actually makes zombies not attack you. You can't use it in game. It's not like an item, but it's a plot element. So that's
it's only in specific story parts where you're surrounded by tons of scary zombies and you're not being attacked by them because you're in the middle of this smoke.
Yeah. So that's their cure. That's what they have to protect them, as opposed to Anizen. So, and they're all fine out there. So you want some of that. You want to find out the secret of it. You want to bring it back. Maybe make more of it. Maybe just use it to help out. So that's your motivation while you're over there. You continue doing quests for them, and it becomes apparent it's just the smoke. Like there's nothing actually like really there. It's just nothing supernatural or anything. Just
it's special smoke. It's not just any smoke. It's like it's the cure smoke.
Yeah, it's like military. I think I didn't get that. Like, were the military making that? Were the military
Yeah, I
Is
guess
that like the cure gone wrong?
I guess
or like the
something like
zombies?
that is implied towards the end when you're going to like the dam and there's like a secret lab in there.
Yeah, there's lots of like military vehicles where like
Mhm.
people are dead and they have like the cure and like they're dressed up in military stuff. I guess the military had something to do with it because there's always a conspiracy in these
Right.
types of things. So that's you find out it is just the smoke. It's nothing supernatural, but that's what you need. You need that smoke.
Where do we end up being at the end of this storyline?
So you meet the mother. She gives you a choice. You find out that she's like a volatile, which is one of the enemies in the game. She's like a human, intelligent zombie. Her face is disfigured. She has like 3 jaws or something like that, and she's telepathic too. She speaks to you and she tells you, "Well, this is it. This is the cure. Do you want to look like me? Because that's what's going to happen if you give this cure."
She has a predator jaw. She's like a monster. She
Yeah.
doesn't look like a person anymore. She's has like her tongue's like flopping around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like teeth coming out of her cheeks and stuff. So it's like, do you want this? Because that's what's going to happen if you give people this cure. Like, there's no escape. There's no getting it better. This is all there is. We should wipe this out completely. Or, like, do you want to chance it? Do you want to fight me and take it? Because we can go right now. You want to go? Let's go. So we chose 2 different endings so that we can experience it both vicariously through each other. Just tell each other what we saw. I chose the first route. I accepted her proposal. We just walked to the room. You get a code early on the game. You punch in a few numbers into a nuclear warhead, and you blow up Haran. That's what you wanted to avoid in the first game, but now you realize that there's no cure, there's no way out. You've given up all hope, so just nuke everything. And that
So
is...
is there like a justification, or does he give like a reasoning or a monologue like as to his change of heart, or is it just you're the player, you chose that?
No, he doesn't. I don't think he like makes sense to himself. He's just like, is this the only way? Well, okay, I guess.
Well, okay, I guess I'll blow us all up.
Yeah, he accepts it and just doesn't see another way. He's like, that. I think that's what he says. Like, there's no other way. And what did you get?
And no boss battle, right?
No, just
Okay.
walked peacefully to the end.
Just walking. Okay, interesting. I said I think the option is like the hell with that or something that you say to her, where you're just like, no, I'm gonna do this my way, and she immediately grabs you by the throat and forces you to drink the full potion, but she has more. So she starts a boss battle with you where she starts like, I guess you're hallucinating. I'm not real sure. She's like attacking you and you like kill her once. She like is weaker than a normal zombie. And then she turns into 2 and then you kill those 2 and then she turns into 4 and then 6 and then 8 till you're just fighting a whole horde of her until they all just disappear inexplicably. Anyway, she gets to a point where you get these you are like transforming now. You're turning into a monster, so you can't use your guns anymore for some reason. You just can punch. That's all you can do. You have your normal hands and your normal movement, but all you can do is punch, and you have regenerating health now. And she's after you, and I had to cheese my way through this boss battle.
I had to
and
look
didn't
it up.
want
I had to look up a guide on how to beat her and tell you while you were fighting
Yeah,
her.
because she just keeps teleporting right next to you and just screams till you're dead. But I had to cheese my way through it. Even after I figured out how to kill her by Grant telling me, I still cheese my way through it because she has so much freaking health on normal or on a nightmare. So I just sat on the end of a broken bridge while she would jump up, and I could hit her without her landing on the bridge, and she would just go down, jump back up, hit her, and go down, jump back up, and just did that until she died, which was like a whole 5-minute, 6-minute process or something. So after that happens, you get the cure, I guess rationale has just gone out the window, and we're calling this the cure still. And you're like stumbling out, and you're like, okay, I have the cure. Why don't you just wait? And you're talking to the people from the original game, and you get to the surface, and everything is fine. There's like no more zombies anymore. There's like children playing, and their mother's there, and you like reach your hand in front of you and see that you're the monster. You're what the mother was, and you reach both your hands out, and you look at your hands, and that's the end of the game. That's the end. Credits start rolling right there. Your hands are the last shot.
So either you kill everyone, or you become the zombie.
Yeah, and since this is the DLC is essentially the sequel to the game. I mean, it's a straight continuation. This is the end of Dying Light. That's the ending. Is one of those two endings.
I suppose with your ending, there could be some hope because you're still intelligent. Maybe you could like do the telepathic communication thing and talk to the people and like tell them how to distribute the cure or something. Maybe. But you're still alive.
It doesn't even make sense because you go to the surface and suddenly you just see that everything is normal. I don't even understand what they're trying to tell me, like symbolically, if anything.
Maybe you came out in like a completely different country, like past the quarantine. That's how far.
No, it's clearly Haran. Oh. Haran is like clearly in the background.
Oh, okay. I would like to see what you saw, and like I should have looked that up, and like so I could. But yeah, that's curious how.
So, this game is pretty long. It's a lot of content, but you get three payoffs. You get the main ending, and you get your option of which ending you get for the following, and they all suck. All three of them.
Yeah, 44 hours is what I clocked on Steam.
Okay, for both campaigns.
Yeah.
So that's 44 hours and for no payoff at all. So
no happy ending.
No happy ending. Not even like an interesting ending or something where he like gets on the helicopter is like, you know, where things are like left ambiguous. It's just bad endings. They're not even like they're not thought provoking. Like nothing interesting happens. It's just cliche and uneventful.
Oh, and most of the main characters die. Like Jade dies, Jade Brothers dies. Her other brother, by the way, she had a younger brother. I think Brecken is still alive, but the scientist you help dies. The other scientist is alive, but most of the main characters are dead.
Yeah, so even when the game leaves you to keep doing more side quests after the ending, there's no more interesting characters left. What did you think overall of Dying Light?
I think it was great. I was always a big fan of Dead Island, and I've always wanted a second one, and then here it is. So this is exactly what I wanted. With added, like, parkour, they didn't have that in Dead Island. They had cars and melee weapons, but that and parkour just elevated it to a higher level. I really liked it. That it was fun, a blast all the way through. No real glitches to speak of. The graphics were great. I'll give it. Let's see. I need to come up with a witty thing to say before I give the number, so I don't like say the number and then I'm thinking of a witty thing to say because you already know like the score I'm going to give it because it's out of 5. So 5 volatiles out of 5. All
right. Yeah, I thought this game was it's a good game, especially if you have friends to play it with. It's a very good game. Just the open world concept, a hostile open world that's actually quite large and pretty dense, and content is fun to play through. I mean, just like, you know, we had a few instances of, you know, strangers coming in our game and playing with us, and it wasn't like Borderlands where someone that like highly outlevels you will ruin the experience. They will just run through everything like a lawnmower. That wasn't really the case in this. I mean, we were reviving other teammates that were much higher than us, you know, just as much as they were reviving us as well. That being said, the story is clunky. The story has every cliche you can think of, and the characters are all just cartoons. And the ending is just so disappointing in both campaigns. I thought there was real problems with the cars and the following. A lot of the animations are clunky as well. The grappling hook just looks so ridiculous when people are using it. But I think overall it's a very good game. You can set aside quests that you want to do, that you personally want to achieve, like fighting off a large monster or something that's in the city to get a box that a plane dropped or something. So I think it's very dense, but there's definitely a lot of problems in design. Also, the inventory system is a total mess, and we're going to get into this deeper, but that inventory system, you're just constantly trying to manage that thing and make it look good, and you don't know what you're going to need and what you're not going to need, and your inventory fills up too quickly, and the sorting is kind of a mess as well. So I think for those reasons, the good and the bad, I think I am going to give this 3 handheld grappling hooks out of 5.
Yeah, one thing that I found half interesting, half like it could be a good or a bad thing, depends on how you do it, was like every single resource is always in flux, which is on one hand might be what you want to keep you from hoarding piles of golds and like resources and never having to use them, so you could become like overpowered early. But on the other hand, it's just becomes a drain on your senses and on your soul. Every single thing you do and you make and you use takes resources, be that money or like crafting parts. Every single weapon you use degrades, and you need parts, resources to fix that. But it could degrade completely and you can never use it again. You would just have to throw it away or scrap it because it's useless now. It broke permanently. And so you need to spend
Everything
more
but
resources.
guns.
Yeah, but guns, which is the most powerful weapon in the game, is fine, but you have to spend more resources to get new items, new weapons, so you can keep killing zombies, so you can keep getting resources. But by that time, well, it's a cycle. You just spend resources, your resources degrade, you get new resources, you spend them, and that's the cycle. It becomes a drain, I think.
Yeah, and nothing is organized very efficiently in the inventory system. Like you have to spend so much of this game just looking at this really dull and hard to navigate menu of items to craft everything, and it's very inefficient. Like immediately you're starting to see ways that it's like, well, why isn't it organized like this? Why isn't it just automatically organized in a way that I can see what's like the most valuable, or you can press filters, but it's just not efficient at all, and it's not stimulating to the eyes. You spend way too long in this game just sorting through this gray dull menu.
Everything's in one giant list, some left justified list, and you have to scroll up or down to get to everything, and so your page fills up, so you have to scroll through all these blueprints to get this to the stuff you really want to craft. And then you have to I played on keyboard and mouse, so I needed 2 hands to craft, both hands on my keyboard to do that. I could click on the mouse, and then the bar would fill up to 100%. It would take like 3 seconds, and then boom, that's one thing crafted. So I can't just like click OK and accept, or like click off the focus and have it go back to the screen. I have to like press enter to get that box to go away. And if I want to craft something else, then I have to scroll back down to it and press enter again and then craft again. It takes forever to craft.
And I remember us, we said we encountered this really difficult boss in the following, that we said, okay, we cannot beat this guy right now. And we, a few days later, we said, okay, now I think we have enough. We're going to go beat this guy. And we had to spend like 8 minutes in the menus, just crafting everything, and that's just bad game design. If you have to spend that long in the menus to be prepared for a boss battle, it's just inefficient. And you're like, every time you craft something, you have to wait for this bar to just tick up quickly to 100%. You have to wait like 2 seconds for it to hit 100%, and then you've crafted it. And if you want to craft like 20 of something or throwing stars, it's just not even worth your time. It's just not even worth it. You will just simply say, I'm not going to craft that simply because of how much time it's going to consume. So I don't think that was a good design choice.
So if you find a weapon that you really like, that, hey, this is my favorite weapon, I found it randomly, it's like the highest rarity that the game provides, it's going to die one day. You're going to use it, it's going to break permanently, and then you won't have it anymore. And that's just something you have to deal with. It's just like a statement on the metaphor for the entire game. Loss. You cannot win. Things are going to be bad forever. Why even try? Because you just have to say goodbye to the things you love. That's what this game makes you do.
I hope they implement the crafting system into like real-time gameplay in their next game that they make, because I'm sure it'll be a zombie open world game, but I just hope that they get that whole crafting and maybe even the inventory system, just get it in the game. Like, I don't want to fish through your menus to find the one thing I'm looking for out of the 300 things that are in my inventory. Well, while we played through this game, there were very specific points we were like, okay, what's up with that? And we found out that some of these things are missing from the game that was originally intended. So, Grant, why don't you brief us on the ethics of censorship?
So yeah, when you first meet the character called Troy, who is a female, the leader of the Embers, she has this weird smile on her face, like permanently. Like instead of her face going to a neutral expression, like between sentences, she just smiles. Like she's never met you before. Like there's no reason to be so super happy about it. But she has this weird smile on her face, and I thought that was odd. So I looked it up, and I tried to like look up some background information. 'Cause that's what I do after I beat every game. I go on like Wikia and like look up stuff. But I found out that a line she had was removed after the game had come out. She has a scar, a burn on half of her face. Apparently she spoke to her brother about wanting to go to school, and her brother threw acid in her face, because I guess having educated women is like a bad thing in certain cultures. But yeah, that's how she got that scar. She's supposed to say a line about that. She didn't. Her line was removed. So that might explain why she had that weird smile on her face.
So was it removed prior to the game's release or after?
Yeah, it must have been after the game was released, because a user on GameFAQs said, like, there's a quote, something on the lines of, "My brother threw acid in my face," just talking about going to school. That's her line that was removed. So a journalist in Alternet asked Techland, reached out to them for a response. The PR manager responded saying, yeah, the line was removed from our final version. That's what he said, the final version, which is a lie, because the game had been released, people had seen the line and noticed that it was gone. But we just decided to remove it in the end and keep a certain vibe and feeling to our story and characters. Troy's a strong character in charge of a crucial role, and it was mentioned to us in final playtests that the piece of dialogue took away from that feeling. That is the quote from the PR director, Paul Milewski.
Yeah, it's a good thing we don't know her origin story.
Yeah, because like this is a thing that actually happens to people. People, like on the news, people get attacked by acids. People are suppressed from going to school, you know, women specifically in some countries. It's an actual issue, but they decided, nope, we don't want that issue that's too controversial for our game.
This game takes place in Turkey, and it seems completely devoid of any sort of Muslim either religious propaganda or anybody wearing a turban or anyone, you know, wearing a headscarf. That is just not in the game at all. The game never makes reference to the fact that it's taking place in Turkey.
Yeah, they don't call it Turkey. They call it Haran, but it's implied to be heavily Turkey. Like everything I can find online says it's Turkey.
Yeah.
But
didn't you say that there at one point were like Muslim zombies?
Yeah, that's what I saw in the they were like the zombies that explode, you get near them and explode, they had turbans on at one point, allegedly. That was from reading like YouTube and GameFAQs comments, so don't take that with too much seriousness, but they might have had turbans at one point. But something we do know for sure that they took off that line because we can't have that in the game, apparently.
Yeah, it seems like games have not matured up to the point of movies in terms of the content that you're allowed to put into a game. I recently have been playing Final Fantasy 15, and I know that it's been widely publicized that game featured a good amount of censorship. I guess the plot line was going to have a lot to do with religion. Like religion was going to, even though it's all fictional religions, is going to play a prominent role in like the city's politics. And they just got rid of that. They got rid of all of that. All there is left is just a few paintings, I guess, that people have seen in the game that, you know, kind of point at what their religion is, but it's never talked about or discussed like it was originally going to be. I think that's an issue, you know, if we can't put, you know, what we want in the game that enriches us to the point where we can't even tell like an origin story of some girl in the Middle East not being able to go to school and getting acid spilled on her face. I mean, there's only so much that you can do. You're not going to be able to give any sort of serious message or point or interesting narrative perspective if you can only put in stuff that, you know, is deemed okay by the PC culture or narrative.
Right, and there's also another thing. Well, Techland has courted controversy before. Like their first game, they had like code was leaked from them, and they like had a alias. They gave like a variable name to a skill. Like, do you remember this one? It was like for the female character in the game, they called her like a quote feminist whore. That was the name of the skill. So
wow.
That was released. That got a bunch of people riled up. Their Dead Island, like Rising Tide, what was that game? Was it like a spin-off? I never played it.
Yeah, it was a sequel.
Oh, okay. They like had a pre-order bonus, which was not the developers didn't like make it. It was like a marketing thing, but it was like a in the first game they had a lot of zombies in swimsuits because it was a beach resort that got attacked by the zombie virus. So like the pre-order bonus was like a torso of a female zombie, like her arms and legs are stumps, but her like breasts are there in the bikini, and that's what you get, the pre-order bonus, like desiccated zombie boobs. So that attracted a lot of controversy. So they had a chance to do it better, do it right. They hired specialists to come in and make sure that thing didn't happen again. And so this is the result. You get Jade.
Sounds like they were just trying to steer clear of any sort of controversy or any sort of anyone complaining.
They didn't hit that because Troy removed. People know about it. People wrote articles about it. So that blew up in their face. That now they're getting nailed for censorship. And now they're like, articles have been written about Jade, the female character that saves your life, that she's too much of a Mary Sue. She's too perfect in every way. Like, she's not, to the point of not being realistic. So
Not the main character, not Kyle Crane, the girl character,
right.
the one that dies.
Because the point is, they're supposed to make empowering female women because they want to right those wrongs that they did with the last two kerfuffles that they have. But they did so much righting of the wrong that they ended up making a laughable caricature of a strong female woman or female protagonist instead of a realistic character. So like they can't win.
It sounds like there's no winning in this situation. Like same thing with like MGS5, like with Ground Zeroes. Like the one reason I hate that, well, there's a few reasons, but the one main reason that I hate that Ground Zeroes was separate is because I feel like they did their controversial stuff in Ground Zeroes, and then either Konami or Kojima or someone made a decision at that point saying, okay, we cannot go that far again. And you never, in the actual game, see anything that's even remotely close to that level of content.
Like, there is no winning, really. We've seen it time and time again. I follow different alternative news circles where that stuff gets discussed more than normally, but either way you go, you get attacked. So my advice, I'm not, an expert or anything, but just make the art that you want to make. That's what art is. It's an expression of yourself and what you like and what you want to present to the world. Just do that. Don't let anyone tell you differently. Just make the stuff you like, and that's the way to go.
If it's good, they will come. Do what CD Projekt Red does and just say, everyone be damned, we're gonna do more than what everyone else does. And it doesn't seem like anyone takes that stance anymore, especially when you get into these like corporate publishers that are just trying to maximize sales, like EA and Ubisoft, that just play their narratives just so straight into the book, and you're just running after cliche after cliche. Well, I think we can wrap this up. Dying Light, it's a pretty good game.
Yep, I liked it, despite all the flaws. I'm a pretty optimistic person. That's why I give comparatively higher scores than my partner Corbin here. I like a lot of things, especially this game.
Yeah, it's a good game. It's worth your time despite its flaws.
Except censorship. I don't like that.
You're right. All right, well, this has been Megabusters, and we will talk to you next time.
Keep those busters mega.